I keep starting the show saying, and we're here again on a Friday night, but I shouldn't be doing that because these don't air on Friday nights.
When do they air? They on Wednesdays nights?
They air on Mondays.
Mondays,
because
okay.
it takes me a couple days to edit them together. So here we are on a Monday night, night, and welcome to Gods and Monsters. And
let's hold on now. It's probably a good idea to say that it's Friday night because if anybody wanted to come down on a Friday night, they could even drop in on the show and just give a few opinions about whatever we're talking about.
You're right. So let's just say it's Friday night here at Gods and Monsters. See, now it doesn't seem sincere because I know I was lying on the inside and on the outside.
Well,
But our toy review shows always air on Fridays at 5 p.m. So
that's cool.
The one that's currently up right now was when Queen Q was here with her Monster High doll.
They were cool.
And they were very cool. She had one of the giant ones, which we saw at Target like 2 days later.
Oh, yeah?
And some of the littler ones as well. So she did a great review for us. That was her first toy review.
That was a fun show. I like that show.
She's not feeling so well, so she's a little overwhelmed with the sickness. So she is going to stay at home tonight. That's fine. She's got to get nice and healthy for Halloween, which is really just around the corner.
That's her time.
So let me just say hello. I'm Art Miles, and tonight I am drinking the Monty Python Holy Grail, but the G and the R are crossed off, so it's just Holy Ale. See what they did there?
I've had that. It's pretty good.
And who are you, and what are you drinking?
I am Greg Moan, and I am drinking. I've decided I'm only going to have one beer tonight. so
just one giant one.
So I picked the biggest one they had and the most potent. This is the Talon Extra Select Double Smoked Porter. And it sounded so interesting that I had to get it. It is a 10% beer.
10%, and you're drinking 2 beers there probably.
It is 1 pint 6 ounces. I don't know what that translates into, but it's probably very, very close to 2 beers. So, in all honesty, I'm having 4 buds tonight.
I'm looking for my percentage. You usually
it's
see
low.
it in the corner.
I think that's only about 5.5% or so.
We'll have to have 3.
But it tastes good.
But it's always good to be here on a Friday night. I think they're having a cosplay night tonight. So any night of the week you come down here, you're going to see something. But this Friday night especially, you've got gameplay. It looks like you got the cards and the dice rolling on the other side of the tables over here, and they're going to have some cosplay this evening.
Yeah, there's a good number of people here. They've got the timer up there, so I guess they're doing some sort of a little competition.
Yes, and then they will have of course, there's a Halloween night. There's a Halloween movie played every night here. I think they were playing Gremlins earlier
today. Tonight was Gremlins, yeah.
They're playing Gremlins.
It was funny when I first walked in the door. I nailed it within about 2 seconds. I just heard something, and it's neat how that works when you watch these movies in your childhood and your adolescence, and it's just so ingrained in your brain.
It comes right back. Last week you said it was Poltergeist, and you came up and you were seeing, and I so hilariously posted a photo of that today. Watch how this is all going to weave together.
Hold on. I'm not so sure I want to talk about this yet because I'm in a pretty good mood right now.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, I bought my dream car on Wednesday.
You did?
Crashed it on Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah, so that happened.
How many miles are on the old car?
192,000 miles.
192,000 miles. And how many accidents have you been in it in all those 192,000 miles?
Exactly 0.
Okay, and how many miles are on the new car?
66 now.
And at 66, it has come to a halt. And you're not driving that car right now. Why is that?
Because right now it's in a shop somewhere waiting on Miata parts from Japan that are going to take 3 weeks to get there.
I was about to say, not a problem. There's Miata parts everywhere, unless it's a 2016.
That's right. It's absolutely brand new. It was beautiful. It was special order. It had special packaging on it, and
I don't usually like to edit these episodes, but I'm going to throw in a photo right now up on the screen so that people can see what we're talking about.
Are you going to post the nice one or the broken one?
No,
we'll post both.
Would you like to see both?
Sure.
Would you like to see the 0-mile one and the 66-mile one?
Boo.
So maybe we'll talk about that more in depth at a later time.
No, that's not for this podcast. That's for some other.
That's for some other very sad.
Let's talk about cool stuff. Like, you know what? Something we talked about Gotham last.
Yes, and you're continuing with season 1 currently.
And something I forgot to bring up in Gotham when we were talking about that was that there are the computers that they use are all old CRT monitors.
Right. They didn't go super high-tech modern.
They didn't, but I did notice in Barbara's apartment, she does have a flat screen on the TV on the wall.
They still have the flat screens. Is the idea that the police department is not like the best kept police department?
I don't know if that's it, because there's other indications that this is sort of a timeless type of place.
Right.
A lot of the cars they use are from the 60s, 70s, maybe even into the 80s. But then there's also modern cars as well. I think I really enjoy seeing these production decisions that they're making. I'm enjoying it.
It doesn't look modern in any way when you look at the city of Gotham.
No.
I think they're taking a page from Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, where it just had this kind of grungy but still architecturally beautiful city.
Yeah, it's a fusion of all times and all genres, I guess. All iterations of the Batman story, and.
But so far, so good on the show.
So far, so good.
Gotta say, yeah. And if the ratings continue, I mean, there'll be at least 2-3 more seasons of this, and they could bring on a different bad guy each time. Maybe they could introduce, I was about to say Robin, but at this point he is not born yet.
No.
Based on the episodes we've seen. But just to see the progression of who Bruce Wayne is, little Bruce Wayne, who just found the fight. Actually, no, I can't mention that because you haven't seen those episodes yet.
I'll tell you what was ultra creepy for me, though, is... when Barbara finally came out of her drunken stupor or whatever, and she eventually goes back to her apartment and she finds Selena and Ivy at her apartment, it got a little creepy to me when she was telling Selena what a pretty girl she was.
Because she looks about 11 years old.
She's maybe 13
Yikes.
As a character, and how she can use her looks as a weapon.
Oof.
And we know that Barbara is bisexual.
Yes.
So that got a little creepy.
Oh, yes.
It lost a little of the innocence of older woman telling younger woman how pretty she is.
I wonder what age they are playing her as.
I'm going to say she's maybe a year or 2 years older than Bruce. So Bruce is what, 13?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yeah, so I think she's at most 15, but...
she should definitely be in school. But
she comes from the School of Hard Knocks.
Right. She witnesses murders of kids' parents.
She's got street smarts.
Yes. But fantastic character.
What else is going on? Something else that I started. The new season of American Horror Story is starting.
I saw you posted that, yes.
And the last season just dropped onto Netflix, so and that's the only way I can watch it.
You can binge watch season, I believe that was 3, and now season 4 has begun? Is that what it is?
No, this is season 4 that just dropped onto Netflix. We're starting season 5, Hotel.
Wow.
And I don't think I like a show better than American Horror Story.
I haven't gotten into the season 5, but this is the Lady Gaga season. Is that what we're led to believe from the trailers?
It's Hotel. I'm not going to watch that until obviously next year when it comes out on. So I'm sure I'm going to hear spoilers all over the place.
Sure.
Blah, blah. But we'll see. I got to say, though, Freak Show, just technically, the way it's put together, the two-headed character, I can't imagine how they did that. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. It's perfectly done.
I'm thinking that this past Emmy Awards, I don't think American Horror Story is getting recognized for all the technical stuff it should be nominated for.
Yeah, I got to say... It looks so real, and the way that they interact. Well, Sarah Paulson is the actress, right? Okay, the way she does the scenes with herself. I mean, I know from the small technical information that I have, I know how that's done and how difficult it really is. But she makes it seem absolutely seamless and absolutely perfect, the way that those scenes are put together.
The show's been seriously recognized with nominations over these last 2 or 3 years, but...
It's just up against really, really other good stuff, too, though.
The golden age of television.
Yeah.
There's just too many good things on right now, and if a show like this had been on maybe even 5 years ago, it would have blown away everything else.
I think the line between television production and movie production is really getting blurred. I mean, it's so very close to the same... It's the same stuff, really.
Which is why I think we're seeing many movie actors now switching over to television, because there isn't that much difference for them when it comes to the quality of work in the final product.
Sure.
And when you look at a show like Mad Men, which just seemed like a very slick movie, or, of course, something like American Horror Story, even Gotham in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's just as good as what's up at the movie theaters these days.
Absolutely. I've been listening to sound design in these television productions, and I mean, it's amazing. Everything is isolated. You hear so crisp these sound effects of doors closing and lights turning on and stuff like that. It's just,
I love having
sounds so good.
The surround speakers on the couch where I sit, just to hear all those things that
Gotham does a lot surround.
Yeah.
And it really helps to create this this immersion into their world. And I think that's important for Gotham, because they are asking you to suspend part of your belief to go into this make-believe world. So very, very cool.
many of the shows that I'm looking forward to, and some of them that you are not looking forward to, like perhaps X-Files or Twin Peaks, have all attempted movies as well as television, and now we've reached the point where for 5 or 6 years, people on the internet were just like, we need another X-Files movie, we need another movie, and it's like, why
not just start the series up again?
So they're starting up the show again with, I think, 6 episodes to start, and the first episode just premiered somewhere.
Oh, really?
3 months ahead of when it's supposed to air on Fox in January. It's some premiere party, which was not cool. Not cool at all.
Not cool because you don't get to see it?
No, exactly. And some freaking spoilers are going to come out. Now I have to just stay away from all those X-Files Facebook pages and stuff because I don't want to know anything else. They announced the date for the Star Wars premiere, which is going to come out like 2 or 3 weeks.
14th?
Yeah, that's a good 10 days or so before the actual world premiere.
Look, it's not that I'm not looking forward to X-Files or Twin Peaks. I really am.
There's just a high percentage of screwing it up.
Yeah, it's because that came out at a time when I was really, really watching television and enjoying characters and plot lines and story arcs and all that stuff. And I have seen reboots and whatever you want to call them, and so many times I've been disappointed. I don't even care or want to watch this new Ghostbusters. I've heard too much about it already, and I think it's silly. I just read an article about how they wanted Rick Moranis to be in it, and he was just like, why?
The Hollywood Reporter, I think, just interviewed him.
Yeah, that's what it was, THR.
You get to learn a little bit about his background, which is that his wife had passed away. He decided to raise the kids. Yeah. And it seems like a really good guy with a good head on his shoulders.
Absolutely. Great stand-up guy who just wanted
easily picked up a paycheck if he wanted to.
Because they were going to ask him to work one day, right? And they probably would have paid him $1 million.
Why work one day for something I did 30 years ago? Is what the quote was in the magazine. Yeah.
The one that hit me was when they asked him, and he responded to, "Why would I want to? Like, why would it, you know?"
So he's making smart choices. He says, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of the things I say yes to, and I'm proud of the things that I've said no to. I wonder if Mel Brooks had come to him and said, I want to make another Spaceballs. I mean, that movie would...
Well, they always talked about making a sequel, right?
Right. So if they were to make it or not make it, it would probably be based on if he said yes or not.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of History of the World Part 1.
Oh, yes.
Where at the end they talked about doing History of the World Part 2, but of course never made.
They never did that, yes. No. But I suppose they could do a Spaceballs and make fun of all the other Star Wars movies, or
they could go in the Star Trek.
They could do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But Rick Moranis was kind of the main character in that movie, and it sounds like he's been doing voice work.
Yeah.
And but good for him. He decided to raise the family and not go that route. And I'm kind of with you on the Ghostbusters. Maybe I'll see it, but I'm not like, a new Ghostbusters movie.
I'm not excited, not even a little bit. Here's something else interesting I heard today was that Tom Cruise will be moving to
Orlando? No.
Clearwater.
Yes, Clearwater.
Because that's where the goofballs are.
Oh, headquarters?
That's headquarters of Scientology.
Scientology headquarters.
Yeah, he's on record as saying that everybody in L.A., they're just so completely fake, which made me laugh. Because I can't think of a more fake person than Tom Cruise. But
maybe he's just too real for any of us.
Oh, that's true. Maybe I'm missing the boat on that.
Well, maybe this might be good for the movie industry that he can be a small part of moving some of the productions down to Florida. He just shot a movie not far from Big Canoe, where I like to go on vacation, in a town called Ball Ground, just outside of Big Canoe.
Okay.
And he shot it over the summer. I don't know what the movie is yet. But it's maybe he's kind of working his way down south, and eventually he'll end up. He and Travolta can just make movies in Florida.
I'm going to go on record by saying Florida will never be Hollywood East. It just will never happen.
Not until the big earthquake hits.
They're making a movie that's based in Ybor City, which is right outside of Tampa.
And they shot it in Tampa? No, they didn't.
They built Ybor City in Georgia.
How sad. And it came down to the economics of it, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Was that Ben Affleck involved in that in some way?
I think it was.
I'm thinking there's a movie where it came down to looking at it on paper, and it was just like, it's not cost effective to shoot the movie in the town.
Right. Yeah.
How sad for us.
Sad.
We don't get the tax breaks that apparently they even do in the state of Georgia. You see how many things are the little Georgia logo pops up at the end of many things now, even including things like Family Feud. They shoot Family Feud in Georgia now. The one that his name does, Steve Harvey.
Here's the thing. Why would Florida give tax breaks to movie production? We don't need that money. we
got tourism.
We're fine.
Right.
Yeah, we don't even have a state income tax. We're doing so good. So we don't need to give those incentives. I know everybody in this area who's in acting or filmmaking or anything like that. They're whining and crying like, oh.
Right.
It's like, well, why don't you go to where the work is?
Right.
Why do you expect Hollywood to come to you? You go to Hollywood or to British Columbia or to Georgia, Atlanta. Why don't you go somewhere where the stuff is? That's how most people do work.
And 20 years ago, we would have wanted all that because. Come on in.
It's like
because we had MGM was just built, and it's like, this is the new place. They're gonna make movies here, and Mark, come on in.
But
we're just gabbing away. Just come on in and put on a headset and join us.
That's been going on for 25 years, 30 years. Ever since I've been in paying attention to anything, they've been saying that Orlando Central Florida is going to be Hollywood East.
Yeah.
And they've been saying that for 25 years, and it's just never happened.
In 1989, just before 91. Orlando was on the cover of Time magazine, and it was like, this is it. This is the new Hollywood. And it was a shot from MGM Studios, and it was like, Orlando, it's the new place. And then inside the article, it was all about how they're making movies. They're going to start making movies here now. Universal Studios
did
was
they know
about
that
to be
MGM
built.
Studios was a theme park? Or they just heard the word MGM Studios, and they're like, oh, we've got a film industry.
Well, sitting now here with us is Mark Schaub from Orlando Mall Guide. How's that for transition? That was smooth.
Segue.
That was smooth.
You're good at hosting.
Mark is here from the Orlando Mall Guide. You can find him on iTunes, I believe. And just most recently, I saw Mark at Orlando IX, which was at the Orlando. Please help me. The Orlando
IX.
No. Orlando IX was at the convention center. The Orlando
Orange
Convention
County
Convention Center. Thank you.
OCCC.
I mean, it was a really big turnout. There was a line for things like the Oculus
Rift.
Oculus Rift. That was a pretty big deal, wasn't it?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, Full Sail had a couple demonstrations of the Oculus Rift. One was a surfing simulation, and then the other was I don't know, what do you want to call it?
Hang gliding?
Yeah, hang gliding.
I saw the guy had on the goggles, and he was sitting like in a chair that was off the ground, and they had fans blowing on him as you were hang gliding into. It looked like an army base, like it was some sort of military mission you were on.
Was there vomiting?
No,
No, not that I'm aware of.
Right.
No.
That would have been awesome if you'd seen like people like just puking off to the side, like, I got to ride this ride now. There's just too much cool stuff going on.
Well, the technology for Oculus Rift have gotten to the point where the latency is low enough and the resolution is high enough so that your brain doesn't get all weird and sick.
Anytime,
Exactly.
of course, we're very happy to have Mark here, but anytime that Todd Fisher wants to walk in and
Todd
join us,
Fisher.
I mean, it's
please,
kind of a rare occasion because he's a very busy guy. Let me turn number 3 back up.
Kind of his house.
Right.
It's true. Hi.
Yes. It's always good to have you here. Mark just walked in. We were just going to introduce Mark and say that you can find his podcast at Orlando Mall Guide, and maybe he was just going to let us know about some things that are going on Halloween related at our local malls, including the Artigan, if you have any info on that.
I saw Mark as he was coming in and remarked on his newly formed beard.
Yes.
I was very impressed.
Majestic.
Yes, I believe I likened you to a 1960s G.I. Joe doll.
To which I said,
To
I
great
will
effect.
take it.
Yeah,
Yes.
to great effect. I mean, he's owning it.
It was
It's
the
really good.
with the fuzz hair, right? I mean, it had the fuzz. Yeah.
Was there any correlation between the beard and no longer working at the Orlando Science Center, and you're kind of like, I'm going to go do my own thing now, and you're like, I'm going to grow the beard?
Is this perhaps a science experiment of your very own, Mark?
It is all of the above, I would say. You know what? Everyone asks me, what's the inspiration for the beard? You know, I really don't have one answer. So
when I grew my beard, I just said I'm lazy.
Yeah,
why.
that's usually
that's
what I
one
say
of them too.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
It is born of lazy.
Recently
feel like it.
Just recently saw a photo on Facebook of David Letterman walking the streets of New York
Isn't
City.
that a crazy
I saw
picture?
that.
I'm pretty sure he was auditioning for The Walking Dead.
He's a bum.
He's supposed to be doing some show now with National Geographic where he's going to be producing in something that has to do with climate.
Just producing, or is he going to be
I'm
a
sure he'll
voice
be
on
more
it?
than that. I bet he'll be a voice on it.
Right on.
So maybe he'll be doing stupid pet tricks with the actual pets in the wild or something. I'm not sure about like that.
I want to see him get full angry. Like, I want to see him without any kind of fear of losing a job or being reprimanded. I want to see him full angry.
Right,
I think he would.
full.
I think he would go Lewis Black crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to.
He clearly has that darkness.
He needs
Darkness.
he needs an unedited podcast.
Oh, man.
Just let him
Right?
go. And I know people like Alec Baldwin have had him on his podcast before, and it's just like, just go, man. No commercial breaks. No, how are we doing on time? Just go, man. Say whatever you want to say. So we'll have Mark say some things to
Sure.
us about what's going on at the malls. But since you sat down with us, we'll have Mark give him a chance to think about my first question about Halloween and what's going on at the different malls.
Oh, sure.
How's things going with you? We haven't seen you very much here at the podcast in a while. You've been busy.
I pop in.
Yeah. You've been. Of course, you're at the store all hours of the day.
Here. Yeah.
I'm always here. No, we've got. It's been going okay. September is typically pretty slow for most businesses, not just us, and not just this mall, but I mean just in general, retail is a little slower in September leading into the holiday
season. Everybody's ramping up.
Exactly.
And I think I always want to know, as we have a podcast and we're trying to get it out to as many people as possible, what should we be doing? What should we be doing better?
What should we be doing
What
better?
should we be doing better here to get the word out? Or I know it's probably still a challenge to be here and run a business.
Yeah.
And you've got challenges, and what are some ways that we can all do better as a group?
Man, I wish I had an answer for you. I think you guys are doing great. Like I like every day I see something new on the Facebook. Like you guys posting something about a new show that's going up or something.
Yeah, Queen Q's episode went up today on her toy review.
With the toy review.
Yeah, the Monster High.
That's just another. I didn't even know that happened. So that was a surprise to me. It's almost like I'm experiencing you guys as a fan. As a fan as well, which is great. But no, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Halloween is fast approaching.
Right. Right around the corner, Back to the Future.
Right. Back to the Future. We've got
that's in
the Halloween Art Show with Minton 3 and Clive Barker's work and all that. That's going to be huge.
Do you have a kind of schedule put together for Clive Barker and when he'll be here and what you have him
have
him do?
Barring incident with his health, we're hoping to still have him on site. We're definitely going to have his work, which is great. Obviously, we would love to have Clive if he's physically able to be here.
Sure,
we will definitely have him.
Any
here.
chance for a Hellraiser marathon?
Oh man, if you know what, that would be amazing.
Just to watch it with him, just to look or sit next to him, like, did you see that? That was cool. Did you see that?
Remember that? Remember
mid-afternoon for
Chris
the kids.
Farley.
I love it.
Just be Chris Farley. Remember that time when you shot that scene? And
remember?
Oh my God,
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
But then we've got Halloween Comic Fest coming up on the 31st for Halloween. Free comics for everybody who attends.
I saw the free comic post on Facebook.
It's huge, man. We'll be doing a big comic. What do you call it? A costume contest, and all the usual things that you associate with a cool Halloween thing. But we'll have a ton of giveaways too. It's going to be cool.
Can we find a schedule of events yet for Halloween Day?
We should. I would think that's probably up on Facebook with the rest of the event pages. I know there's a ton of event pages. There's event pages for everything.
Halloween's on a Saturday this year, correct?
Yes.
I think it is.
I think it is the 31st. Yes.
Even better.
Yes, it is even better.
Bar will be open.
Do we know what's going on here at the Art again when it comes to Halloween? Perhaps that's something Mark can talk about if you happen to know. You know things that are going to be going on here for Halloween?
Mark's nodding his head yes. So
Mark does know.
We're going to get to that.
We can just gradually
Mark,
toss to Mark and
tell us.
Kind of let us know what's going on here at the Art Marketplace for Halloween.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So on Halloween proper from 2 to 5 p.m., you can bring out the family, do some family trick-or-treating right here at Artagon.
Cool.
They will be able to go to each merchant. They'll have candy.
Sure.
We will have free holographic flip books while supplies last, so you can pick one up for the kids.
Nice.
And children ages 12 and under are free to wear whatever costume they want.
I love holograms.
Go at it.
Yes.
I love flip books.
And
Sign me up.
So good. And I'm sure any 12-year-old that wears a costume gets 15% off at the bar. No.
Oh, wait.
That's different. That's a different night.
No. No costume required.
Oh, very good.
Oh.
Very good.
No ID. Wait.
So that's good. I know that it's kind of trending that way, that people are not necessarily doing the neighborhood thing as much anymore when it comes to trick-or-treating, depending on where you live. And people go to the malls quite a bit with their kids in costumes.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Thanks, Obama. Just throw that on that list of things we're going to blame him for.
Well, you talked about Back to the Future, so while it's not Halloween proper, we talk about Halloween events. You got the 21st where they're showing the movie right here at the Cinemark.
Yes.
So,
Really?
and can I just say,
Wait, just the first one,
Or just the second one?
Just the second one?
I believe it is the trilogy.
Is it the trilogy?
That makes
Okay.
sense. That makes sense.
It's a triple. Yeah, they're describing it as the triple feature. But
Nice.
yes,
Very
it's
good.
absolutely the
Yeah,
triple.
because we don't even know about the 21st of 2015 until the second movie, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Correct.
Right. Exactly. Great point.
Or is that at the very end of the first where they?
No, the first one ends.
Does he dial it in?
Well, the first one ends with him coming back from that year, but we don't see it until the second
okay.
one.
You do
Yeah.
not
Very
see the
ambiguous.
actual date.
Okay.
Yes. And then I don't know if you're aware, but they are showing the original Halloween the
cool.
Carpenter film in select theaters, and I believe it's the Regal theaters, wherever they have the Fathom events. Is that my right?
Yeah.
Fathom?
Yeah.
I actually went and saw Miami Connection the
Did
other
you get
day.
to see it?
I did, but apparently I was there. I went for the replay because I wasn't there for the live one, but YK Kim was there at Winter Park Village.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I
That's
wish
so
I could
cool.
have met the man.
This is the weirdest thing to have a story about. I have a Miami Connection story.
We gotta hear it.
Let's hear it.
It's so cool. So at my last place of business, around the time when Miami Connection was first hitting Netflix, I had recently seen a trailer for it. And when I saw the trailer for it, I didn't realize that it was a movie that had been made back then. I thought it was somebody doing like an homage film. Like there's no way that this could be real. Like, oh my God, it's got ninjas and drug lords and the whole thing, a motorcycle gang. So I was really excited to see this thing because I thought it was fake.
Right.
And then I saw it like 2 weeks later on Netflix. I'm like, well, hell, I got to watch this. So I watch it, and it's insane and awful and wonderful and like a mystical experience. So I go back to work, again, my previous place of employment. I go back to work, and one of our employees there is named Lee Isbell. He works here now with us. And I go, Lee, you gotta watch this movie. This movie, Miami Connection. It's crazy. It's got ninjas and bike gangs. And he's like, and he gets this look on his face, and he's like, I'm in that movie. And I'm like, get the F out of here. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm like, it's on Netflix. You're in the movie. He's like, yeah. Remember when they're in the computer lab at the college?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you said it's on Netflix, and we had just put Netflix on the TVs at the place. So I was just like, yeah, I'll cue it up. You right?
Call that scene right up. Fast forward to it.
And I swear to God, we click onto it, and like clockwork, 80s Lee turns around and faces camera in the scene, and I'm like, oh my God, that's totally you.
Wait, oh my God.
And so yeah, that's my dumb old story.
Oh, that's
Wait, we got to get him on the
So
show.
random. I know, right? We gotta get Lee in here.
Lee's never sat down here
He
with
hasn't,
us.
really?
Yeah. We need to be part of the Get to Know Your Gods and Monsters employee
Lee's
episode, like
Lee's
we did
a
with Sarah.
charismatic chap.
Yes, we have yet to have him come in here and sit.
We'll have to fix that.
Was he working the front door at the grand opening?
He was.
Yeah, I think he stood there for 12 hours.
He was there pretty much all day.
He stood there just as long as those stormtroopers did
Lee's
that day.
a trooper, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see him here every time that I'm here as well.
And an acclaimed film star, as I
Yes,
found out.
yes.
As I found out.
Yes. So we again talking about Halloween, and so we've got plenty of things planned on here.
Sure.
The Artigan has some plenty of things going on. You know of other things that are going on at other malls for Halloween. I imagine the Altamont Mall will have something where the kids can walk around.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any kind of set hours for that, or you can go all day that day?
You know what? I'll be honest. I kind of rushed on here,
That's
and
all right.
I haven't pulled it up. But I can tell you that, yes, there are multiple malls doing Halloween trick-or-treating events. But we definitely encourage you to, nudge, come out here to Artigan
out to the
and
Artigan.
do the trick-or-treating one here.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of walking for a little kid. So that they could
Yeah.
probably fill up their bags full of candy and then end their evening right here, I suppose, if
It
they
is
want
interesting.
to.
You mentioned earlier that you saw kind of a lean towards, I don't know, more safety-driven trick-or-treating.
absolutely.
I get it. It's obviously we all had childhoods that were
Yeah.
that were wrought with danger.
Right. We all should have been at least hit by a car once.
Yes.
You know what, though? At the same time, every year for the last 10 years or so, I haven't really participated in the actual Halloween night. I've turned my porch light off and stuff like that. My house is dark,
Yeah.
and I still get
Still get the knocks?
15, 20 rings.
Right.
Man.
Now, I don't answer the door because that's, kids,
Well,
you're being stupid.
I mean,
Get
if
out of
they're-
here.
If you know they're going to ring the bell, why don't you just grab a bowl of candy?
That's it.
Be-
All I can
because
think of
I don't-
is the purge.
I
That's
don't-
all I can think of anymore. Just lock the doors.
that, and I don't want to be the creepy guy in the neighborhood.
Oh, you're overthinking it. The kids would love it if you just
I'm certain that I'm
sit in the
overthinking
garage like some people do. Sit in the garage
Okay. With my beer.
with the chair, and just with the pumpkin
Drinking
and
beers
just,
all night,
just
yeah.
hand
Throw
out
candy
candy.
at kids.
Yeah.
That's an even better idea. Catch.
Kids,
Catch.
But absolutely, yeah. The malls are kind of going that direction, and thinking back to how we survived the 70s and the 80s, running across streets and busy highways.
How did we do it?
I don't know.
Because
we are lucky.
Because we had no fear and we didn't care, and it was all about getting
no
the
fear,
loot.
no helmets, and no padding.
And to some degree, we all had some sort of street smarts that I don't know if kids have these days.
Yeah.
So going to the malls.
We looked for cars before we ran out in the street.
True.
Car, game on.
Right, exactly right. So that's just creeping around the corner, Halloween, and and I also wanted to touch on something. Mark was recently on Fox 35's Good Day Orlando.
Sweet.
Because there was kind of a big announcement that Macy's is going to be shutting down a lot of stores. Now, Macy's is a very big chain store at many malls.
Where am I going to get my Michael Kors bags?
I know. That's the problem. That's why I wanted to address it.
What was the reason given?
I think they're just downsizing, correct?
They are just downsizing. They are also redesigning some of their stores, and the reason they gave was that certain stores are cost prohibitive as far as redesigning and that sort of thing. So, but when you look at it, it's 35 to 40 stores. I believe it's only 5% of their overall number of stores. So, I mean, it's a small number, and there are about 5 Macy's in the greater Orlando area.
That's too many.
And you got to wonder which one in the Central Florida area. Well, that's
just too many Macy's.
And you're probably asking yourself, why are 4 tough guys sitting here talking about Macy's? But I'm going to tell you, it's because there's unfortunately a trend going on that some of these bigger chains like Macy's are going to start to depart from malls. I'm thinking perhaps Oviedo Mall might be one of the victims of that.
Oh man,
there's an Oviedo Mall Macy's.
There is.
Yes, there is.
And I would think of all the Central Florida malls, that would be the one to get the axe, just because if you ever walk through there, there's not a whole lot going on. And they got 2 floors of oof.
Yeah, and it's a nice Macy's, so that would be unfortunate. But I mean, like you said, or like I said rather, there's 5 in the area, so we're not going to lose all 5. We will have a Macy's here in town. And honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if we don't lose any, all things considered.
Really?
Yeah, that's just me speculation. That's not me hearing anything.
My first thought was that when I heard that announcement was that it's going to be Oviedo that's going to get hit because that's the least popular of the malls, or is it? I'm not sure.
I mean, I will say this. In the past 5 years, I would put Oviedo and Orlando Fashion Square in the same boat. They have definitely improved in the last 5 years, and maybe you say it's because of the economy improving. I'm not sure. Actually, something else you have to point out is both malls have new ownership, so I think that's also helped both of them.
I think we're going to see a lot of this, a lot of brick and mortar stores downsizing a bit, just from the internet age of being able to order anything. I think clothing stores might be the only thing that really, really survives because people are still hesitant to order clothing online because if it's not exactly perfect, it's not the same color, it's not the right whatever, it's not the perfect size. Returning stuff is really a pain in the ass, and I think it's better for women anyway, even men. I don't know to try things on before they buy.
Futurist thinking right there.
But think of the square footage, the square footage that some of these Macy's take up. I mean, you've been dealing a lot with square footage and equaling dollars in a certain amount, and you were even hunting around at the Oviedo Mall at one point.
Sure.
But could you imagine what Macy's must be paying for square footage-wise at Oviedo Mall, considering what I know the spot you were looking at, how much they were charging for that, to think they've got 2 floors of that. It's expensive to be, in a Macy's.
And that is why Macy's and JCPenney also experimented with this, actually subleasing part of their stores and bringing in a Finish Line, bringing in a Best Buy, and various other retailers, Sunglass Hut, so that they can bring in more, like a special clientele, maybe increase sales in a spot that they otherwise wouldn't be, and they're bringing in that additional revenue of the subleasing. So they're exploring all of that. And I also have to point out that stores, so you mentioned clothing, and so we still have to go in stores and try them on. Stores are also trying to strategize as to how to get people in their stores. So perfect example, Todd, your amazing store here.
Oh, thank you.
It's more than just product, right? It's an experience. And so there's that whole experiential retail aspect coming into it. So Apple Store it's not just a place where you go out, buy your Apple computer, it's that atmosphere. Same thing with the Starbucks. So you've nailed it with the comic book collectible store.
I think it would be interesting to take data, and I don't know how it would be possible to gather this data, but to measure the percentage of people that come into the store and leave spending money.
Right.
We had early on we had looked into before it became kind of cost prohibitive to do it in the early stages. We had looked into doing the counters, like the people counters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And our POS system is actually pretty good about tracking sales and tracking like how many, who's spending it on what, and the more information. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's math that can be done.
But he brought up an interesting point, like when you said Apple stores. A lot of people go into Apple stores just to look at things.
Right.
And they look at things, and then they're like, oh, cool, and then they leave.
But a lot of people go there because it's a place to get things fixed.
True. Sure. But I'm of the opinion that people would come into the store, and there's price points from probably $1 to $1,500.
Sure.
And if you spend enough time in this store, you're gonna buy something.
Right.
That's the hope, anyway.
I mean, I've never bought a comic book or a graphic novel in my life, and now I've bought 2 here.
Yay.
Just because.
What'd you get?
It was the one. It was the one that Sarah did a book review on. It's one word,
Saga?
short.
Saga.
Yes, it was Saga.
Hell yeah,
that was
Saga.
it.
Yep.
So she brought that up on a comic
what's the
book
other
review.
They were both Saga
They're both
volumes.
Saga.
Yeah.
So,
Have you read them yet?
I'm almost through the first one.
What do you think?
I love it. I think
Great,
it's great.
right?
Great storytelling.
Brian K. Vaughan, baby.
Great
Fiona
artwork.
Staples.
Yeah,
Get in
it's
there.
beautiful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Sarah
love
did that as a book review on one of our episodes, and
I
so
love
we
it,
do
man.
toy reviews and book reviews, and she sold them on it.
Yay.
Sold me.
She told a good story on that. So referring back to the malls again, I happened to notice as I walked out to the front of the store that it looks like your neighbors across the street, and perhaps throughout the mall here, are starting to lose their chain link looking facades, and they're going to actually have walls.
Yeah.
No
There's
kidding.
construction going on right now. It's taped off because they're getting walls now.
I kind of like the openness of it.
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
Well,
Do we know?
Here's what I know. They brought in a guy called David from corporate about 2 or 3 months ago with a 90-day plan to kind of revitalize. They gave him a budget.
Really?
And they told him to revitalize this because I guess the experiment of the cages maybe needed some tweaking.
Okay.
And so what they did was they brought David down, and he's got a real good eye for design and
Good.
I don't know whatever's happening out there. It's all David.
Right.
And yeah, they I guess there's a push to do maybe a grand reopening come November.
We like those.
They've brought in new marketing people here at Artagon, from what I understand.
Right.
And a big push to kind of rechristen
for Black Friday,
this.
perhaps.
Probably,
Right
yeah.
around
Well,
that time.
I think right before that.
Yeah.
Your grand opening went okay, right? I mean,
It was all right.
Heck
It was-
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm still tired.
That was a long, fun day. Though.
That was
not for you,
come
but it was
on.
fun for us.
I barely remember anything. It was like getting hit by a truck. But yeah, Craig, our contractor, was actually brought on by the mall to
Really?
to spearhead a lot of what's been going on out there.
Good.
So
Good. They like the
it's
work
awesome.
that he did here, perhaps,
They
and now
did. And I think a lot of it had to do with them seeing our theming,
Good.
and because all of these guys are getting facelifts, kind of directly related to what they sell. Like
That's good.
You know, and some of them are working out really, really well. They look really, really nice. And they basically, I guess they'll give the artist 2 weeks off, and they foot the bill, and they theme
Really?
it out
Oh,
for them
wow.
and everything. I think that they discuss it with them first.
so they're trying. They're trying to.
Well, that's
they
good.
are. They're trying to rethink what they already rethought, and
Right.
and kind of get a new feel for it.
And maybe the original thought was that it looked kind of like a nice indoor flea market
Sure.
with those walls, but now they're going to go for something a little more permanent looking.
I think so, yeah. And because David, from my understanding, did not like the cages. He was not a big fan of the cage look.
Yeah, they tried something.
They did. They
Right.
did. They tried, and now they're doing something new.
Very good.
And it's interesting. I don't know if this was their thinking behind it, but since it's basically like they're making little houses, they're making like little things
Yeah.
that you kind of have to walk into to experience what it is. So maybe it's subconsciously going to draw people in rather than with a cage you can kind of
Oh,
see
so
everything.
you can
at a
just
glance.
walk through,
You know what
yeah.
I
I
mean?
agree with that.
So that's probably some of the thought behind it.
Huh. Mark, I don't see a lot of malls being that open-minded. When I
Yeah.
think of the Altamont Mall, I think it's the same Altamont Mall that it's been for 20, 25, 30 years. You don't see anybody kind of thinking outside the box, like, let's try this. Like, okay, now let's try something else. Can you think of another mall in this area that kind of does something like that?
That reinvented itself? No.
Yeah.
Well, you used to be able to smoke in the Altamont Mall. That was something.
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Oh yeah,
Write
back
that
in my
down. Write that down,
back in
Paul,
my high school days. Yeah.
That
You
fountain was filled with cigarette butts. Now it's filled with coins.
it was way darker too. They had no skylights or anything like that. It was like basically a teen hangout. It was right under the stairs up to the. Oh, that was make-out point.
Now, that was a teen hangout. Oh, that's because the Oviedo Mall wasn't there. I was going to say, how come you weren't hanging out there? But I just know anytime you go to the Oviedo Mall on a Friday night, it is the Oviedo High School hangout.
Is it?
And it's
it
all
always
the teenage
has
kids
been,
there.
I think, too.
I think it always has been. I remember when I worked at the movie theater there, every Friday night, the teenagers were just walking up and down the halls.
I think any mall that has a movie theater,
Yep.
and that's most malls.
Yep.
I think, and that's where the Altamont Mall kind of screwed up because they detached it. They detached it from it, so they don't get that crowd that has to walk through the mall to get to the movies, and that's a big crowd that they're missing out on weekend nights.
Yeah, that was the mall I see at Oviedo. Every Friday night, just kind of unwind. Tough day at school there at Oviedo High School. And unwind.
Well, what else are you going to do when you're 16 years old?
Right. So they and I don't even know if they're going to the movie theater. They're just walking up and down the halls. It's like the equivalent of American Graffiti when they would drive the cars up and down the strip. Now it's just the kids walking up and down the malls in Oviedo.
But can I say that? I mean, people ask me, Mark,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
What are you, a red-blooded heterosexual male, blogging about the mall for? And I'm just saying, like, my simple answer is as a kid, that's where I would congregate. That's
Absolutely.
where I made so many memories. I would see movies, hang out with friends. When I was finally able to drive a car, that's the only place I could go to.
Right.
So, and then I worked at a mall during college. So, I think it's a rite of passage now, where you just hang out at the mall.
When I was in high school, we used to go to the mall, and we used to have actual conversations as to how we were going to turn around because we didn't want to be awkward and just stop and turn around and walk the other way. We had to find a U-turn place.
Point, yes.
Yeah, because it would have been
some kind of retail cul-de-sac.
Something, or we would walk into a store, then walk out to go the other way. I mean, it was that stupid.
Okay, so
I understand.
For example, Oviedo Mall, you come to the end, you're at Macy's. It's like, well, we're not going into Macy's because we're teenage kids and we're boys. Do we just turn now, or do we just kind of go to Macy's and make that's very interesting.
Because it mattered to us what we looked like turning around. It was so stupid, but
I get it though. I still think about it to this day. Like, oh, all right, just do a U-turn.
It meant enough to you where you're discussing it in a podcast years
later. You still remember
it affected you.
I don't give a damn anymore. I'll do whatever the hell I want to.
Anytime I go to a mall, I'm still the same way. If I'm with the family and we get into the mall, I'm going to use the Oviedo Mall again as an example.
Okay.
Go to the food court. And my family starts to go off to the left. And my first thought is, what the fuck is wrong with you? You go to the right and you stay to the right and you go all the way around. No, we're going to go to the left and go to the jewelry store. It's like, no. Then we're going to miss something. Or we're
doing it wrong.
We're going to have to cross over in front of other people who are doing it correctly. You go to the right and you stay to the right and go all the way around the mall.
That is the wrong way walkers on the mall? What are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing going the wrong way?
I know. You look at them. You just look at them as you walk by.
Do you drive a car? Because that's how cars work.
I follow them home.
Now, interesting.
That's how people should
in
work.
England at the malls, do they all walk on the left side?
I would be willing to bet they do. And Australia.
Good question.
See, I just do what Chris Jericho, the wrestler, taught me, which is not quite that, but you basically just walk forward. Say you've got a whole crowd coming towards you. You just walk forward. You just look like you're looking at the end of the room, and you put on a weird face. The crowd will part, and I've done it, and I can attest.
Interesting.
I bet that beard helped doing that too.
Yeah.
People just part when they see that beard.
Well, how do you think I got here?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I forget sometimes.
Who's rattling a can? What's going on?
I think I saw your upcoming co-host Brian Downs.
Yes,
We're
Brian
running around.
might be joining us for something that he needed to do on a special writing project, and he wanted to know if he could use some of our technical things
That's
here. So
after the podcast.
That's
so.
after the podcast.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
We've still got about 15
Brian
minutes
did
to go.
join us for the Emmy broadcast for a while, just to talk about TV and this and that, and
And it was
he helped us.
the Berlin Fraternity.
Yes,
I remember
the Berlin
that now.
Fraternity, yes, which is the name of his book, but also sounds like an awesome title for a bunch of college kids in the University of Germany.
Drinking beer.
University of Germany, right?
Yeah.
We're the Berlin Fraternity.
Fraternity.
Right. I hate to think about the hazing that went on for that.
You must
But
drink
yes,
this blood.
But Brian
What?
will be joining us.
Of course I will.
I hear Mason a lot. Sometimes we'll be sitting here and Mason is kind of like, he's kind of just out there like announcing things all the time because there's always something going on here, at least on the Friday nights that we're here.
I think
so British.
the timer's up, so...
The
is
is that what
gone.
that clock was counting
Yeah,
down?
I
Probably
guess
what
so.
that was.
I saw that came up on the Facebook this week, in not next Friday, but the Friday after. I think you're having another karaoke night here on a Friday
That's the
night.
word.
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're doing another karaoke.
Now you did it with it. Was it a business that came in and kind of ran it for you?
Yeah, it's some friends of ours came
Okay.
in and ran it the first time.
It's good because it's organized. You don't
I
have
presume
to.
they're doing it again.
Yeah, I think it's on a Friday, and it just popped up on Facebook today. So not next Friday, but the Friday after, I think another karaoke night's coming up.
Yeah.
Is it next Friday that the body paint is coming back?
I believe so.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know.
Boobs.
Boobies.
Damn it. I won't be here next Friday. I will be at a soccer game. I'm going to see Orlando City Soccer play live for the first time.
You picked the best week ever to not do this podcast then. Thanks a lot, jerk.
All that. Feel free to come down here on your own with a camera. That won't be weird at all.
No, of course not. That's
I'm taping a podcast. Eyes are up here. Right.
Totally normal.
I'm on it. Now, the first one you did, the body paint, seemed to be very successful to the point that there were actually girls sitting in the booth next to us who were waiting for artists. There weren't enough artists to go around.
Too many models, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was very that was
a lot
weird.
of fun. They tend to enjoy it. So yeah, come out and see some boobs.
So
I mean, really.
There's the promo. Come out and see some boobs. I talked to Mason last week because I've had somebody who keeps constantly texting me saying, what's going on with Star Wars? What's going on with the 501st? And from what Mason told me, Disney has kind of bought out the 501st for the rest of the year because they need to use them for all these other Star Wars events that are going on. So the 501st may not be able to be here simply because they are unavailable for that the whole week, I'm sure, for the whole month possibly.
Saying it out loud, it doesn't surprise me at all.
You know what? Walmart sells about 3/4 tall Stormtrooper and Darth Vader people. And Publix have balloon
It's
stormtroopers.
the same thing.
Right.
So
it's very similar.
I say we go get a bunch of those and march them down. I think that'd be great.
That'd be great.
We noticed here, looking over our shoulder, the cameras can't see it, but the T-shirt section isn't here anymore.
Right.
Tell us what's gone over here into this area.
Well, we got some new fixtures recently. Sheplers, our neighbors,
Oh, very good.
our
Yes.
neighbors to the north.
Yes.
I think are becoming a boot barn.
Oh,
What?
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
they
they
gonna
were getting rid of some of their fixtures.
Time
So
out.
Are they going
Time
through a
out.
name change?
Time out.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I'm
Hold
sorry.
on.
I'm throwing the red flag.
Boot barn.
Boot barn.
There is
Say
a,
it.
There is
It makes you feel good.
so
boot barn.
There is a market enough to create an entire store for boots.
Oh, sure.
Take that, Toby Keith.
Enough,
Shouldn't have left here.
Enough to have a whole barn.
Where the hell am I living? This is a mess. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's going to
Imagine the smell of leather.
Remember when Pleasure Island first opened up? There used to be like a Western dancing, square dancing place right there at Pleasure Island.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to the Saturday Night Live skit where it was the leather barn or whatever the leather place or something like that. And it was it was poor Brittany Murphy, rest her soul. She was wearing the pants that were
Had to bring up Brittany,
Yeah.
didn't you?
I love
Thanks.
she was my wife. I loved her. Anyway,
8 Mile. She was good in 8 Mile. She was
yeah,
good.
She was something. Anyway, she was wearing the rattlesnake pants that still had the venom in them, and
Yes.
she couldn't feel her legs. One of the greatest skits ever, and every motion, everything.
That was Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands,
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe. Yes.
Well, any flea
Choo,
market,
choo.
any flea market regular.
Hey! You'd always whip him. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Any flea market regular.
Any flea market regular knows that there's that 50-foot patch in whatever flea market it's in.
Oh
that's,
my
that's
gosh,
that
yeah.
heavy leather scent.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's there, and you know. Yep. They don't even have to put a sign up to tell you this. It's the store. You just know from the smell of it.
So yes, Boot Barn, formerly the artist formerly known as Sheplers.
Okay.
They were getting rid of some of their fixtures and were gracious
excellent.
enough to gift them to us. And,
No kidding, gift
so
them.
we
That's nice.
so we changed up some of the front
Nice.
displays and ended up moving the Star Wars stuff to its own wall. back
And
here.
I imagine because Star Wars is getting closer and closer to a release date, your Star Wars quantity is
it's
increasing.
true.
Here.
I actually got in some of the Force Awakens figures yesterday.
Got any
that were-
BB-8s? Any BB-8s? Any of the big BB-8s?
None of the big ones, but I've got the 3-pack that's got the 3 3/4 inch scale one.
What about
right
those?
now.
Have you seen the Millennium Falcon little drone?
I've
drone
seen it,
looking.
yeah.
I've
Cool.
seen it at Target, but I'm just wondering if that's something that would be sold at other stores. I mean, is Target exclusive to that? Because I see these Target commercials
Could very
with
well
James
be.
Earl Jones's voice. I mean, they got him locked
Oh,
in on
man.
these commercials. And I hear him say, "And the circle is complete." For one commercial with a dad and the son, and over the years, and now
Shop
it's the new
Target.
dad. Yep. And so I'm noticing though you've got a lot more Star Wars toys here now available.
Yeah. We're obviously the smart thing is to push what's popular, and I just happen to love Star Wars too.
They've
so.
changed the packaging though. I thought it would be nice to stay with the original action figure
Yeah,
packaging.
that would have
Yeah.
been nice.
But
Did you say you have the small BB-8s, the remote
I do.
controls?
Would you like to see it?
No, but
yes, I want to see it run around on this table.
That was so,
I will say that
it was
people
so instant. No,
people are buying those and
keep that thing away from me.
they're creating a game which is basically a demolition derby, and the first one to knock off the top that's magnetically on there
That's
wins.
so funny.
It's a 21st century version of cockfighting. Of something.
Kinda.
Play until you've killed him. Not a bad idea. So good. Lots of new Star Wars toys here if you want to come on down.
Definitely.
And I haven't been to many other malls to see what other kind of Star Wars stuff is out there. Have you been walking around at all lately to see what else is out there?
It's everywhere.
I mean, it is everywhere.
I haven't been to a mall in probably 2 weeks, but nothing has jumped out at me more than the normal. So
Do you feel your powers depleting?
Yes.
I do actually. I feel.
Well, Mark was very busy in the past 2 weeks with the Orlando IX.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me, what's going on with the what is that?
Well, it just passed. It was a showcase of pretty much Orlando's burgeoning technology industry. So,
Okay.
digital media, entertainment tech. I mean, the rides that are made at Disney and Universal is made right here in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, video game companies such as EA Sports.
What was
So,
the big
yeah.
thing you learned, Mark?
Gosh, there's so many things.
One thing that stands out. The first thing to pop in your mind.
Oh, gosh.
Parking
okay.
parking at OCCC sucks.
Oh, man, that was a journey. That was a lot of walking that day.
I was fortunate I got to cut through, so that was good. To answer your question, as a businessman, you have to address 4 things, and that's need. You have to, and now I'm forgetting. It's need, help, hurry. Oh gosh, maybe I didn't
And
learn.
it's something else.
if
that
you're
the
eludes,
fourth one.
that eludes us.
Yes.
If you were on Shark Tank right now, I would say I'm out. I can tell you
Yeah,
one
it's
thing.
cool.
One thing that I did see when I got to walk around. Thanks to Mark for getting me in for that. It was awesome. I walked right in the door. The first person I met was a 14-year-old boy and his father.
Okay.
Hey.
And thanks
And
everybody
that was
for
Cut to commercial. Cut to commercial.
And that was only in the parking lot.
We'll see you next week.
It was a 14-year-old and his father. The 14-year-old had
And his
created.
father? Oh.
He had created his own video game.
Oh, Jonathan Cunningham.
It was
that
at his name.
Oh
And
my
his-
God! Don't name him.
His dad, his dad was there also to help him because the boy is trying to get his Xbox license.
Uh-huh.
So his dad was there to sell his Red Hot Chili Peppers guitar in a silent auction to help raise the money so that his son could get his Xbox
cool.
license. And I sat there and I played the game that this 14-year-old kid had created.
And
it was just amazing to think that a 14-year-old. What were we doing at 14?
I was skateboarding and jerking off.
Right.
that's about right.
At the Altamont Mall. He
Not
was
at,
doing that,
not
which
at
is
the
why
same time.
he was asked not
at the
to go
same
back.
time. That's dangerous. Kids don't do that.
Right. So 14 years old, created his own video game, trying to get his Xbox license. I mean, the kid is going places, obviously. But there were so many other stories, not exactly like that, but you go from table to table, and you see these things that people have just created. They've created video games, not just the Full Sail kids, or not just like, I don't know if Dave's World was there, but there were just people there like, yeah, I created this. And like, yeah, I've made this box that plays all these games. But the kid was the first thing I saw when I walked in there. Did you think of anything else that stood out that you saw that day that was just very...
That very same 14-year-old
Yes.
boy.
No, that kid is very, very inspirational. I mean, the kid is self-taught. He learned just by... See, that's the other thing. He had the internet. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, if we all had
Back
the
in
internet,
my
we
day,
could've-
right.
But he at the same time, he was just very resourceful. So he used YouTube, Google, and he didn't just look up how to make a video game. He looked
learned.
up... Yeah, just like he broke it down piece by piece, So, very inspirational. I'm trying to think of what other things that was... big,
that
but-
irritates me about kids these days. Not irritates, but it's hopeful for me. I mean, listen, they have resources at their disposal that are just
Right.
so far beyond anything we had when we were kids.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so the creative kids don't necessarily need to know the technical stuff. The technical kids don't necessarily need to know the creative stuff. It's put these kids together, and they're
Right.
going to make something so amazing that it never would have worked when we were kids. We didn't have that ability to create our own, one part here, one part there to make awesome.
It makes you think back to how amazing it was to think of Bill Gates or Jobs just in a garage somewhere with nothing except
right.
for their brains. And to know now that kids can go onto Google and learn how to do these things. I bet none of them know how to code, do they?
Oh, you'd be very surprised. I mean, he started as a web developer.
What, at age 6?
No, I'm serious. Like in his early teens, like 10, 11 years old, and that's what got him into, creating and coding
Right.
and that sort of thing.
Well, shit. I mean, kids are growing up playing on their phones and iPads in restaurants because their parents want them to stay quiet. So that's all. I mean, that's all this generation's going to know. They're going to know the digital age. That's it. So they're going to want to create their own apps to, I don't know, keep track of their friends' scores.
It's amazing.
Like that,
so he was awesome. And one of the other things, when I just took a break where I wanted to get something to eat, I sat in the Madden room. And Madden had its own room, and the giant screens, and there were like 4 or 6 kids up playing on little screens. But then the kid in the middle, it was like a little kid and a taller kid, they had their games up on the giant screen. And I sat there for 10 minutes. I was eating a cookie. And you sit there for 10 or 15 minutes, and after a while, you're like, I forgot this isn't real. I mean, this looks real. The new Madden has always been impressive. But you watch it up on the giant screen, and you hear the sound and the crowd going, you're like, you forget that it's not real. It just looks awesome.
Is it the Madden game that's using Spike Lee?
NBA 2K16.
That's NBA.
NBA.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
But I guess there's a story mode for this thing.
There's also another thing
that
where
you can follow a character.
Have they done that before with the games?
It'll use the camera on your system to take a picture, like a rounded picture of you, and it'll put you in the game.
What's
You're
happening?
You're talking story like you see him get drafted and you see him start playing things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to
NBA
be a part of that. Yeah.
2K16, a Spike Lee joint. That's so cool. Well, on that note, I'm going to jump back out on the floor.
You should do some more
talking.
Always glad to see
talk more
Todd
to Mark.
Fisher, co-owner of Gods and
Yes.
Monsters, come by. And
it's me.
We're looking forward to a great Halloween
It
here.
was me the whole time.
Thank you
That's
so
right.
much.
Very good.
So cool.
It's always nice to have Todd stop by. He hasn't stopped by in a while. He went up to Atlanta. What was the big convention he went to in Atlanta?
Dragon Con?
Yeah, I think he went to Dragon Con. It's the first time he and Anna had gotten a chance to go and do that together. And it may have been the first vacation they'd taken since the store opened, or possibly 6 months before the store opened.
Yeah.
So it's the first chance they got to get away. But
They've been busy.
I hadn't really seen him in a while, so it's good to have him come over and unfortunately interrupt Mark in his time to talk about the malls of Central Florida.
Sorry,
No, are you
Mark.
kidding?
Sorry, Mark.
Are you kidding? I'll sit here and just listen to you guys. This is great.
I don't
Well,
I don't ever.
Well, then let's bring Spider over because Spider.
Spider,
that guy.
he's a storyteller, man. He's really good at this.
He knows shit, and he's not afraid to say
Right.
it.
He should have his own podcast. We should be on his show. It shouldn't be the other way around. But I don't always think of, well, let's call it its proper name now, Disney Springs as a mall. But
Is that what they're calling it now?
It's called Disney Springs, but
That's
it's got
bullshit.
kind of the qualifications of a mall when you consider the shopping and the restaurants you have. When was the last time you had a chance to go down and visit Disney Springs?
Well, let's see. It wasn't that long ago. It was probably in the past 6 weeks. It was the last time I was down there, for sure.
The name change happened about a week ago, and they did the big reveal. It's called this.
I think I was down there 16 years ago.
Really? That was the last time?
Yeah.
We go as a family. We go down there a lot because
Well-
you can't always get into the parks. You can't kind of spend that money, but you can go down there. You can go.
I think because you're
just
a
walk
family,
around.
you know.
It is true. We
Yeah.
love to go to the Lego store there. You get the little container and you can fill up as many as you can for however many
What?
dollars.
Oh, did they sell it by weight?
Yeah, no, they sell it by a container. You can buy the small container or the large one, and they've got just like
Wow.
a wall full of here's 1,000 yellows, here's 1,000 blues.
No
and you
way.
You can just fill it up.
Oh, that's a brilliant marketing technique because I'm thinking about when you go to the not yogurt. What is it? Not ice cream. What is it called? It's called
Yogurt. You were right.
No. Oh, it is yogurt, isn't it? Anyway, you go to these places that
You can do it yourself.
it's Sweet Frog, yeah, like that,
Yeah.
and then you get to the end and they weigh it, and that's what you pay. Well,
Yeah.
I've figured out if you fill your shit with marshmallows, that's like cheap.
There's no weight to that.
You pour a little bit of the frozen yogurt in there and then fill it up with marshmallows.
We had one of those.
Genius.
We had one of those places on 436 and 1792, and we used to go to that yogurt place all the time, and it just didn't make it, sadly. I can't remember the name of it, but I know they're a national chain, and it just didn't work out at that corner. Perhaps because they were building a giant bridge there, and construction was blocking the intersection for about a year. And damn it, what were we just talking about before that? Oh, Disney Springs. So we go down there. We love to go to the Lego store. We haven't made it into the new Indiana Jones restaurant yet. It's called Jock's Airport Hangar,
Yeah.
something like that. And it's just fun to just ride the boats and go to the stores. They've got a couple of cool Disney stores there called Disney D23, I believe, where they sell the little figures that the girls love to collect. And but it's fun to just
the Disney Infinity things that you have on your little rack.
well, they do sell those as well. Yes,
Are you
that's
talking about
correct.
the pop vinyl ones? Or?
Yeah. Well, they do sell the pop
okay.
vinyls, but it's the smaller ones than that. It's a whole different. What's it called? I can't remember, but we do enjoy going down to the Disney Springs when we don't want to spend the money to go into the park. We walk around there, find a place to eat. But that place is. I mean, they just did the name change last week, but they've still got a year's worth of construction to do there.
Now, to be fair, Disney just did raise their prices, so that's good.
Yes. one of the cool things they've got at Disney Springs is they've got a new parking garage. It's right next to the movie theater in Planet Hollywood.
And now it costs you $20.
No, it's no charge.
But at Disney now it does.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's $20 for parking.
$20 to park.
And Universal now too.
Yeah,
which is
they immediately the next day said, "Guess what? We're up to $20 now too."
Feel free to edit this out. Fucking ridiculous.
$20 just to park. You haven't even gotten in the park yet, and you're spending $20.
What are your other options, by the way? Can you go to an auxiliary lot and then they'll bus you in?
At
and
Universal,
then
I'm not
and you
sure.
pay like $7 or something like that. I mean,
I know some workarounds at Disney World for no parking.
God, that's just so
but
ridiculous.
At Universal, I don't know the workarounds there to park somewhere for free. But damn it, you made me lose my train of thought again on the Disney Springs.
Just hit the rewind button a little bit, and then
All right. Now I'm going to rewind the show for a moment and look back to what I was just talking about.
You were talking about
the parking garage
Yes,
at Disney Springs. Yeah. It's I don't want to say it's all digital, but when you pull up, it's 5 floors. As soon as you pull up, it tells you how many parking spots are on each floor. So you go up the ramp, and then as soon as you pull up, there's an arrow that says there's 30 parking spots this way and 20 this way. And then as you go down, each individual aisle has green lights that let you know if somebody's in that parking spot or not. So you can park right in there. As soon as you park, the green light turns off, and it'll let you know there's no spots. So now there's no going back and forth each aisle. You can look down the aisle to see how far that green light is. If it's not far enough for you, go to the next aisle. If it's way down there, that's your spot. That parking lot doesn't cost a dime.
Oh, that's nice.
So no charge to park at Disney Springs. One of the other cool things that's going on there.
I still won't go.
Oh.
I used to go when
it was Pleasure Island. Remember? I mean,
Yes.
there were dancing and there were clubs and there was a stage.
When I was 20,
Yes.
I would go to Pleasure Island.
Yes. They had the clubs there, and they had the stage at night, and they would always do fireworks at midnight.
They had mannequins. The whole
friggin'
friggin' club
mannequins.
would rotate.
They had that place where you could do the shoot your own music video place, which
yeah,
I have
yeah.
one somewhere. I have a VHS tape of me singing "Living on a Prayer."
Oh, you got to put this on the show.
I gotta find it somewhere.
Please
well,
make that happen.
For copyright reasons, I probably shouldn't.
No.
And I was horrible in it.
No,
but
you should.
It was like a green screen nightmare. It was
Just
like this was 1990 when
yeah.
Pleasure Island had just opened up. I was still living in South Florida.
All your edges are pixelated in green, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's bad. But I was singing "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi because it was one of the few songs on the list where I was like, I think I might know all the words to this song.
And you were actually singing?
Yes, and it doesn't mean just because you know all the words that you can hit those high notes.
Oh,
there are a
no.
lot more high notes in that song
That's
than you
a very hard
realize.
song.
Yeah,
Very hard song.
I knew it 30 seconds into it when I thought, oh, this is about to go up an octave. No, this is going to turn out bad. And
I'm
it
in
did.
trouble.
And it did.
Okay.
But it was one of those where, however they edit it together, it's just like shot of a crowd, shot of the band, and then all of a sudden it goes to a shot of you on the green screen.
That's awesome.
Damn it, I remember that place. I do. I used to stand there and watch
You could watch people
drunk
practice.
sorority girls do that.
You could see people practice in the audio booth because, like, all right, practice your song, and then you could go see them on the green screen, and you could wear different outfits. I put on sunglasses and a
then
dark jacket.
they would shove 7 girls in there doing their little bachelorette party,
Yep.
trying to all sing, and they're just wasted and it's awful.
That sounds awesome.
You would think today.
Awesome.
You would think today that something like that would still be
The one girl's
successful.
wearing a penis tiara and stuff like that. It's like, hey, good job.
bachelorette
All
parties.
right, way to start your marriage. Good job.
But why is that not successful to where you can still shoot those and give them to people on a thumb drive or a disc and say, or we'll upload it, we'll send it to you in an email?
Because honestly, I can do that at home, and so can 100 other YouTubers.
Yeah, but most people don't have green screens at home and have songs readily available to do karaoke. And
No, they don't. But because it became too expensive, is what happened. Is it was $20 back then, and now it's like $60 to do it. And it's just that the price to get in is way too high. And after you've spent $140 on drinks down at Disney, whatever they're calling it now, because
Disney Springs.
Because drinks are $11 each. You're not going to spend that extra money just to do that silly little thing. They need to take a note out of the book from where's that place? Las Vegas, where if you want to do the expensive strip stuff, you do expensive strip stuff. If you don't have the money to do the strip stuff, then you go to Fremont and you do the cheap shit at Fremont, because that's where the fun people are. I mean, that's...
You and I lost our camera.
All right,
should we continue with another camera? Or what should
we'll
we do?
wrap it up. We're at 103.
I feel like I have more questions for Mark. So we still have the wide shot, so we're fine.
We got the wide shot. So
I just
we'll
means
do a
more
few
editing for me.
Do more questions.
Well, I want to know.
That's still going, so we're good.
Yeah, this camera's still going and our wide shot's still going, so we're all still in the shot. But I just want to know if you happen to know of more things that we should be looking forward to before the year's end when it comes to our Central Florida malls. Any kind of new openings?
Well, we've got Sky Zone Trampoline Park. not too far off here at Artagon. I'm looking forward to that because I'm still, no matter how old I get, I still want to jump on a trampoline, man.
Sky Zone. Now that's different than I'm thinking of Sky Venture.
You're thinking of Rebounds?
Sky Venture?
Sky Venture's still there, though.
Is that still there? Oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
My wife did that once with her office, and they shot video of everybody doing the flying up in the air thing, and I'd love to do that one time. So that's something else. Anything else coming to Central Florida before the year's out? I don't feel like I'm seeing a lot of grand openings or anything new right now. Just closings more than openings.
I'm also not hearing any mention of any like the big haunted houses, the private or the independent haunted houses that are happening this year.
Those are just legal nightmares.
They might be.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Even like, I think it would be cool to put on a haunted house at your own place of residence.
Sure.
But I can't imagine the legal ramifications
Yeah.
should someone get hurt or
really.
anything.
Other than Hollywood Horror Nights, I mean, what else do we have here for Central Floridians?
I don't know if they still do it, but it was big just a few years ago. Petrified Forest.
I've heard of it. I've never been.
Yeah, I hear great things about it. It's very affordable. It's legitimately in the woods, and I hear it's actually really scary. So I have to look that one up.
Also have to keep a lookout for Terror on Church Street. That's still going on, right? Do you ever remember Terror on Church Street?
I know, I've heard of it, but I don't.
Welcome
have
to
anything
1992,
associated
folks.
with
It's been gone for 20 years, but I just remember it was like a year-round thing, wasn't it?
It was a year-round thing.
year-round thing.
That was ambitious to think that people wanted to do something scary in June.
And still at a time when their downtown was actually thriving, could we say? Was downtown thriving in the early 90s before?
Yeah, Church Street.
Before Universal built their downtown.
Yeah.
I think.
Back in the Church Street days, 80s, 90s, that was a good time. They had street performers. Terror on Church Street almost always had a line. There was that laser tag place. Phineas Fogg's.
Phineas Fogg's.
God, what was a couple of other places? But yeah, that used to be the hangout. And then when Downtown Disney and Universal Studio, what was it called? What's the Universal place?
City Walk?
City Walk, yes.
When those things happened, they just pulled everybody who wanted to have fun out of downtown.
I don't even know what's going on in some of those sections of Church Street to this day.
There was a revitalization. They put a lot of swanky clubs in there, and they turned into kind of like ratchet clubs.
Yeah.
And
Howl at the Moon is actually.
That would have been the. I
Isn't
remember.
Howl at the Moon somewhere else? Is that at Universal somewhere?
It is on iDrive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I know that.
It used to be one of
because
it used to be one of the coolest places to go, really.
Yeah.
Just
there
to
used to
have
be one
a couple
downtown,
of drinks and really get rowdy and silly.
Right,
and
a lot of
it was
interaction.
Fun. It was
You
funny.
know, it was
funny
really
as
cool.
hell too.
Well, we never know
And
when.
and you say it's on iDrive here now?
It is, yes.
Okay.
It's right next to Hooters. Why do I know that?
Oh, good.
Well, iDrive is a huge street. There could be 3 Hooters on iDrive.
That's true.
So we never know how often we're going to see Mark. So maybe we should hit him with one more question on where will Mark Schaub be shopping for Christmas this year? What's the best mall, do you think, for Christmas shopping?
You know, I'm not partial to any
Amazon.
one mall.
I mean, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I will say this. I love Florida Mall just because it has just about every store
True.
under
Very
the
true,
roof.
yeah.
I like Artagon here, especially for Gods and Monsters. That's not a cheap plug, but anyone who knows me knows. I mean, I'm wearing a Smallville T-shirt, so you know where my loyalties lie. And then also Altamont Mall. It's almost like the I don't want to say poor man's. It's Florida Mall Light.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got pretty much everything under the sun as well. So
and if you have money, go to Millennia.
Yes.
Yes. Or, you know, you can go people watching there, too.
That's
That's
fun.
also
Yeah.
a good place
That's
to do
good time.
that.
I'm wondering who's
the Millennia area also has like tons and tons of other stuff too. That's one of my more favorite places to go.
The outlet's not far from there.
Because there's a lot of like cool places to eat and shop that's not the mall there, and they have that IKEA down there, which I get lost in.
Exactly.
That happens.
Well, once again, why don't you let our viewers know where we can find you and your podcast, and if you have a future episode you wanted to plug. It's been a while though, hasn't it? You've been busy. You've been busy with your other things in your life.
Yeah, and you can call me Mark, no excuse Schaub, but I was late tonight.
I'll do that.
Thank you. I was late tonight, and I don't like being late, and it's just because this week's been hell. But you can. So as far as like future episodes, yes, the Orlando Mall Guide is still going. I just need to kind of decompress a little bit and get back to it. And then the holidays, of course, I'm going to be super busy. You'll probably see me on Fox again
you'll
a lot
pop up on
during
Fox
those
35
holidays.
again because they like to ask Mark questions. Like when the Macy's thing went down, it was like, get Mark on the phone. Are we losing a Macy's here? What's going on?
He's the Tom Sorrells of malls.
Of malls. Yeah,
that's it.
That's a
of
good
commerce.
way. That's a good way to think of it. And I'm happy to see that you're still on their Rolodex at Fox 35, and they'll call you when they've got mall questions. There's an expert for everything. We got a mall expert, we've got a Disney expert, we've got an expert, we got a financial expert, and they're all local people. They keep them in the Rolodex. Macy's is shutting down. Get Mark on the phone. He's coming on the morning show to tell us what's happening. So good. We appreciate you coming in. We can find you on iTunes, on OMG Orlando Mall Guide. And we hope to see you possibly come here again soon to maybe around Christmas time where we could start talking again about shopping and stuff. We ran that one dead tonight. We haven't done that in a while.
Dead.
So, and we only got to briefly touch on what we were drinking tonight. So,
no, I said we're good.
So what we'll do is sign off now. Thanks to Mark for joining us, and Greg, you have a great story to tell us about your car, but not tonight's episode.
Not tonight.
Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you again soon. I'm waving goodbye in the camera that's dead. So let me go to this camera. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good night.